Hi, my name is Marie Toole, and I'm an AARP Colorado volunteer. AARP can see and feel the trends. People 50 and older are more active, both physically and mentally, than ever before. They aren't slowing down. In fact, they're preparing themselves to do more of the things they love. So many older adults are exercising and eating right daily. They are taking the time to learn new things, and they know the importance of life balance, making sure that leisure and fun are significant parts of their healthy lifestyle. As part of that get up and go attitude, we are hosting webinars like Eating for More Energy with culinary nutritionist Michelle Fox, where we can discover ways to keep our nutrition in check so that as we age, we can continue to do the things we love to do without limitations. Tonight, Michelle will show us how to make the typically decadent pasta dish and make a much more healthful version that is veggie rich, gluten free, and dairy free delight. In that lively spirit, we welcome you to enjoy your Eating for More Energy with Michelle Fox. While we hope you learn something new and exciting, we want you to enjoy yourself, relax, and most importantly, have some fun. Please note that we are offering a closed caption option this evening. If you're interested in that option, click on the last red button on the bottom. If you're watching a recorded version, you may download the transcript under the Handouts tab, the fifth red button to the left that looks like paper. Also, if you're interested in a copy of tonight's recipe, it's located in the Handouts tab now. If you'd like to hear more about healthy living and nutrition, please check out our website, www.aarp.org/food/healthy eating. We look forward to connecting with you. And here is my friend, Michelle Fox.
Thank you so much, Marie. And to the community, welcome to my kitchen. Oh my goodness, I am going to do my best to stay as calm as possible. But for my friends who have been with me before, you know that's probably going to be an impossibility because we are going to have so much fun this evening. We are making my creamy fettuccine Alfredo. And yes, as Marie said, we are making it dairy-free and gluten-free. So put your seatbelts on. Well, maybe not the seatbelts because we're gonna need like freedom in your kitchen to move, to dance if you feel like it. I might sing a little bit. I'll try not to. Definitely not my specialty. But you definitely will see a lot of moving. So I welcome you to move as well. A few housekeeping items before we jump all the way into the food and cooking dinner, because I actually happen to be hungry this evening. So we're going to eat real soon, I promise. So housekeeping items. And while I'm talking, I see a few people have already put in where they are coming from. So I'd love to hear where you're coming from and perhaps one thing you are grateful for. So as you're writing that in the chat box, I want to also encourage you to love on each other this evening. We've got about a little under an hour together, and sometimes I can talk kind of fast. And so if you miss something, please feel free to put it in the chat, and then community, if you could help that person, that would be amazing because I will do my best to check the chat box. I'm pointing there because it's on that side of my screen. But as you can see, there will be a lot of moving pieces. So let's love on each other. Let's help each other. Let's have community in action. For my friends who are cooking with me tonight, if you want to follow along on your own recipe, if you're on a desktop or a laptop, if you look at the bottom, you'll see a ribbon of red circles. And towards the middle, you'll see a circle with it looks like a stack of papers. If you click that, then you'll be able to download the recipe that I created for you. If you're one of my friends who are on an iPad, I'm told that red ribbon should be either on the left or the right side of your screen. And same thing, towards the middle, you'll see a red circle with stacks of paper in there. Click that and you'll be able to follow along. Okay, so let's see what we have in the chat box so far. We've got Raleigh. Welcome, Donna. Greetings from Reno. Ann in Fort Collins. Hello, Ann. I'm here in Denver, so great to see another Coloradan. We've got Jacqueline in Detroit. Hello, Jacqueline. So great to have you. And thank you for using big font. I'm actually wearing my glasses tonight because Mom has been having some issues with her eyes lately. So, if you all happen to see the way to change the font on your side, that would help me tremendously. So, thank you, Jacqueline. That was amazing font. Let's see. So Allison says she's curious to see how I'm going to make this Alfredo healthy. Good. You are in the right place, Allison. Love it. Dawn says she is grateful for the computer and her Wi-Fi connection that you can be here. Yes, me too. I think that's probably the biggest silver lining for me from the pandemic is that we've all been more accustomed and learning more and getting more comfortable with technology. So, amen. Love that gratitude. I'll do one more gratitude and then I will stop, or I will start cooking. Let's see. Aloha from Dreamland. Kathleen, hi, welcome. And then South Florida. Oh, good. So it looks like we are across the nation, all the different area codes and zip codes. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. Sincerely. So glad you're here. All right, so again, creamy fettuccine Alfredo, but made in a healthful way. Oh great, and Marie just gave a tip in the chat box on how to make the font bigger. Thank you, Marie. That is huge. I can actually read that instead of doing this. So thank you. That is beautiful and helpful. And that is my example of community in action. So thank you very much. Okay, so my friends who are cooking with me, go ahead and pull out your pasta pot because we're going to boil the pasta. Because I have limited space here, I went ahead and boiled my gluten-free pasta already. So that's done, but I'll walk you through that and make sure you can kind of stay on the timing with me and with the cooking. And so go ahead, fill up your pasta pot, depending on how much pasta you ended up buying, and hopefully it was the gluten-free version. If not, I'll give you a pass this time, but encourage you to perhaps try the gluten-free options next time because I'm telling you, 20 years ago when I started eating gluten-free, hardly anybody even knew what gluten was. I'd go to restaurants and the chefs were like, gluten, what's that? But now I am telling you, we are in the best time to have options to eat, to help our bodies heal, and to feel really healthy, like we're living this healthy lifestyle. So, with that said, I did want to show you these rice noodles that I found. They're, and I'm not endorsed by them, but it's just, I really love the way they taste. They're pad thai rice noodle, pad thai rice noodles. Looks like the brand is called Forbidden. And I just like them because, like I say, they're pad thai noodles. And so they are kind of like that sticky rice texture. And so that's what I'm going to use for my fettuccine Alfredo. But if you have, let's say, gluten-free spaghetti, or even if you have like gluten-free macaroni, it can be really any kind of pasta. Let's follow the package directions. But for the most part, I'm guessing we're going to boil the water, make sure the water is boiled, and then gluten-free pasta tends to cook a bit faster than the traditional stuff. So I would say watch it, put on the timer if you need to, but it's usually 8 to 10 minutes that you can cook a beautiful pot of gluten-free pasta. Okay, so while I'm giving you a moment to pull out your pasta pots to get the water boiling so we can boil some pasta, we will move on to the actual sauce. We're going to make the sauce first, as I point to my blender over here, one of my best friends. I'm kind of in love with my Vitamix. Don't tell my husband, he gets very jealous of this Vitamix. But we are going to make the sauce first so that some of those flavors can kind of marinate. And then at the very end, we'll pour it on top of our pasta and our veggie mixture. Okay, I saw some movement in the chat, so let me just make sure there's no other questions before we really dig in. Oh, hi, Jenny. So great to see you. In from Colorado. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so if you can see your recipe, I'm actually following along as well because even though I make this recipe all the time, I get very excited when I start teaching and talking about nutrition and healthy living. And so thank you for bearing with me. And thank you to my friend's point with technology. Thank you, iPad, for giving me an option to follow along with my own notes. Okay, so the sauce is super easy. Pull out your blender and or your food processor because we're really just gonna blend, blend, blend. So either way is fine, just as long as it has a sharp blade, then we're good. And just follow along top to bottom for the ingredients for the sauce, and we'll do that. So I said 3/4 cups raw cashews. I said if you have time to soak them, it's better because the texture is a little bit softer. I also know that I am talking to a very busy community. So if you don't have time to plan ahead to soak your cashews for about 2 hours, don't even worry about it because cashews tend to be one of the softer nuts anyways. So we're going to pour in the cashews. I already put in a 3/4 cup filtered water. And actually, this will be our first little kind of mini quiz. Why do you think I said filtered water versus just any old water? Can anybody tell me why I might have put filtered water on the ingredients list as a culinary nutritionist? It actually looks like I need to bend in for this one. Hello, Marcia or Marcia. Actually, I think it's Marcia. I think we met last time. Welcome back. Great to see you. And Natalie, also from Hawaii. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to give you all one more moment to see if anybody's fingers are free. Maybe you all are cooking and grabbing out the pots and the pans and the blender. And so maybe I'll give you a minute for that. But why would I perhaps say filtered water versus just water? Okay, and it looks like we might be on a time delay. So if anybody answers first, you're going to get a bonus, which is a big smile from me. Sorry, spoiler alert, that's all I got for you tonight. But yeah, so the whole reason I said filtered water is because, especially for most places in the US, because I've been corrected on this before, but, oh, yay, so Cindy wrote, removes impurities. Yes. Okay. So you're getting like a little shoulder shake and the smile. Great job, Cindy. Exactly. So most places in the US, yes, we have great filtration systems. However, there's only so much filtration that can happen with the water. We want as much filtered out as possible because if you think about it, with our waste, with garbage that's getting into the ocean, with we're talking about food now, so I won't go too deep into it. I won't, sometimes you gotta let me know. Just turn off the nutrition nerd, Michelle, and I'll do my best. But I will just say we want as clean of water as possible when we're putting it into our bodies. So filter, filter, filter when possible. So we've got the filtered water. And let's see, Dawn says, I found my NutriBullet, but just moved in and can't find my blender. Well, Dawn, the sauce is actually not huge. So I imagine all the ingredients should fit into your NutriBullet. So nicely done. I love it. You are like ready to roll. Okay, so we've got the 3/4 cup raw cashews, 3/4 cup filtered water. Now we've got a 1/4 cup nutritional yeast. And if you want to be in the cool kids club, you can call it Nooch. That's what us, cool nutritionists call it for short. Nutritional yeast, if you hear anybody say, pass me the Nooch, they're talking about the nutritional yeast. And this is one of the most fun ways to kind of add like a vegan cheese flavor to anything. You can play with this to make, anything you'd have cheese for. So maybe it's nachos or a creamy queso dip, or in our case tonight, Alfredo sauce. So this is what's going to give us kind of that dairy flavor and yet give us the enrichment of the B vitamins, because that is one of the main ingredients or nutrients in nutritional yeast. All right. Next, we've got 2 teaspoons of gluten-free soy sauce. This one always gets me a little wound up because soy sauce, I have no idea why there's wheat in it to begin with, because the gluten-free soy sauce tastes identical to the stuff with the wheat in it. So we want the gluten-free. So that's going to either be your tamari or coconut aminos. And I am just moving in my steamer real quick because my stovetop is a little bit slow to warm up. So ignore my hand movements and just listen to my voice. I'll let you know what I'm doing here in a moment. Just need a little time to warm that up. So nutritional yeast. And next we've got, oh, I'm sorry, the gluten-free soy sauce. Yes. So mine is also liquid aminos count because they taste very similar to the soy sauce, which is typically soy-based. Any soy sauce is going to be soy-based, or the coconut aminos are coconut-based if you really want to stay away from soy, which I would encourage you to. With that said, I will say the coconut aminos are a little bit sweeter on the sweet side, and so that's why I lean on the Bragg's liquid aminos, because it tastes exactly like the yummy, salty, hearty soy sauce. So that's what I have in my house. All right, next we've got 2 cloves of garlic. So I am just going to chop off the woody edge and then kind of like the pokey edge on my 2 big fat cloves of garlic. I love me some garlic. In fact, I don't think you could ever give me too much garlic because it's such an amazing antioxidant, antiviral, health, brain supportive vegetable nutrient. Okay, and so for my newbies, let me show you a little magic trick. And for my people that already know, go ahead, have your own fun. We're gonna just take the knife flat like that, and we're gonna use the flat edge of our hand and just go like that to smash it. And this is gonna help the skin come off that much easier. Woohoo! Oh, the smell. The aroma of garlic is so healing and so yummy. And especially right now as we're going through seasonal change. I just paused as I realized we have people from Hawaii and Puerto Rico in the room. So your seasons probably are maybe not as dramatic as our seasons here in Colorado. But right now it's been a little cold the last few days, I have to say. And so I've been trying to up my vitamin C and my antioxidants because Mama's way too busy to have a cold. We're not doing that. So this meal is actually really perfect timing for our seasonal change to keep my immune system up. So sorry, I guess this was a little selfish, but hopefully it's going to be helping you to keep your immune system up as well. Okay, so now with the garlic, I'm just going to do 1 slice in the middle and do a few chops. Hope that's not too loud in the microphone for you. But we're going to mince this garlic. And I like to say that there's no such thing as perfection in culinary nutrition. So why that came up just now is because I want you to mince your garlic coarsely, like bite size. And I often say, just chop it with the amount of patience that you have, because I know it can be a little sticky, but the end product will be worth it. So I would say don't go too tiny because it's nice to have a little garlic crunch in this dish, but definitely get it small. Mine's looking kind of like this shape of rice, I would say. Oh, can you smell that through the screen? Is it wafting through the screen? All right. And with that said, this is if you have kind of like, I don't want to sound too, what is it? Elitist or bougie. I was going to say, if you have a regular blender, then you want to chop it up like this. So I did that for a demo. But if you have a Vitamix or even probably the NutriBullet, I'm sure that's super sharp. You don't even have to worry about chopping your garlic. You can just plop it right in. Okay, what do we have next? Sea salt and pepper to taste. Okay, so I was so busy railing on wheat and gluten in soy sauce that I forgot to put it in our sauce. So we'll put it in there. And then a little bit of sea salt. And fun fact, sea salt or Himalayan pink salt also has a very similar pH level to our blood pH. And so it's an amazing, amazing source of nutrients, but also amazing source of flavor, which means we can get rid of the white stuff that is loaded with chemicals. So if you got the white stuff in your kitchen, Just get it out and replace it with the sea salt or the Himalayan pink salt. All right, last step, the ground pepper. Here we go, here we go. Okay, and now we're just gonna blend. And before I do, let me just double check the chat box to see if there are any questions or comments. All right. So Amy asked, is this once a month or once a week? Love that question. Right now, I come back every other month. And so our next, and actually a little plug, I would love for the rest of you all to join as well. The next time I will be back is December 1st. Same time, same place. It's a Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Mountain, and we will be making plentiful spaghetti. It's another one of my favorite meals. So I hope you come back for that. Okay, let's blend up this sauce and feel free to do some shoulder shakes while it's blending. Here we go. And because we have particles in there, there's a good chance on yours as well that you might have to what's the word? I just lost my language for a moment. Wipe, scrape down the sides and or the lid, because we don't want to lose any of this delicious, nutritious ingredient. So I'm just gonna use my little baby spatula and wipe down the sides, and I'll give it one more whirl, and then we'll jump into making the innards of our pasta. All right, here we go. Awesome. So now we're just gonna leave this to the side so that the ingredients and the flavors can marinate. And Deborah, awesome question. So she asked, is the substitute soy sauce, does it have less sodium than the regular soy sauce? Awesome question. And the answer, sadly, is they're the same. But actually, I can read the side for you and let you know if it says on here. It doesn't. But I will say the good news is this seasoning comes from a vegetable, which we love. And the other soy sauce, a soybean, I guess, is technically a vegetable. However, we're going to get more nutrients from the liquid aminos. So awesome question. Thank you so much for participating. All right. So for my friends who are boiling their water to make the pasta, just a little hip tip there. Check. Make sure the water is completely boiled before you put in your gluten-free pasta, because yes, it cooks a little bit faster, but also if you put it in before it's at a full boil, it does tend to be mushy and then nobody's loving it. So let's get that fully boiling and bubbling. Speaking of which, my steamer here is starting to bubble and boil. It's moving a little bit faster than I expected. So that's the good news. The good news is we will be able to eat within the 60 minutes. But for you, next step is to grab your head of cauliflower. We're actually going to just use half of a head of cauliflower for this recipe. And go ahead, rinse it, and then chop it into bite-sized pieces. Because for this one, we're going to steam the cauliflower in the bite-sized pieces. And then we are going to I'm putting it here as if we're going to use the bowl. No, we're going to mix it all up in the wok. So sometimes I put everything in a bowl and mix it up for the family. But tonight, for demonstration purposes, I'll pull out my wok and we'll mix everything right there in the wok. Both ways work great. Also, I want to let you know that once the cauliflower does stop steaming or gets to its steam point, we are going to put the kale in. We're going to turn the heat off and just kind of let the kale wilt on its own. So let's jump right into that. I would love to introduce you to the kale from my garden. This has been a labor of love and so much fun. My husband built a garden bed for me this year, so it's been like my first year feeling like a farmer out out in the backyard, and it's just been such a blessing to see how the vegetables just kind of take over on their own. This is a whole nother show. We can do a whole nother time, another conversation as far as lessons learned. But I will say with this kale, it's been beautifully abundant. I've been eating kale all summer long. And just when I think that I'm depleting the garden, there's more kale that comes out the next week. I'm like, okay, kale it is. So this is a really fun recipe that we can use to have the kale. And for my friends who might be like, don't love kale, well, one, I just strongly encourage you to try it in this recipe because you really can't taste it that much. But two, feel free to substitute out another green. So Swiss chard could be good, spinach could be good, but we want the green veggies because that's of course going to help us with more energy in our bodies. All right. So, Deborah's asking, have I used chickpea pasta? If so, what has your experience been? Love that question. I have, and I don't love it, I will say. But it's just personal preference. You might try it and you might love it. And I would say, of course, the chickpea pasta is going to be way better for you and less inflammatory for your gut if you can tolerate it. I just found it, at least the brand that I tried, I found it a little bit too grainy, and then maybe I didn't cook it right, but it just came out a little bit more mushy than I would have liked. But as far as nutrition content, yes, amen. Go for it. Awesome question. All right. Is gluten-free pasta healthier than whole wheat pasta? Love that you asked that question, Rick. Yes, 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 yes. So, in all the work that I do as a culinary nutritionist, I really talk a lot about how our guts support our brains. And wheat is no longer grown the way that it was when our grandparents were eating wheat. And so it is my professional opinion and personal opinion from the research I've done and from the results I've witnessed is that wheat is inflammatory for pretty much everybody because, again, it's just not grown and harvested in the type of soil that we had back in the day before I was born. So absolutely, to answer you more directly, I don't believe that there's much nutritional value in the whole wheat pasta. So if possible, I say get it out. And then next step, if possible, just try to experiment with some of the more flavorful gluten-free pastas. I know in the beginning, I had mostly corn, which is okay. That's a step a little bit better than the wheat. However, corn can also be inflammatory for similar reasons, the way it has been harvested now compared to the way it used to be. So, awesome question. Yes, we want to avoid the whole wheat pasta as much as possible. And so now if you can hear, it sounds like my steamer is getting ready. And as I was talking, I don't know if you saw, but let me use this bowl to put my chopped kale. But to cut the kale, I'm just kind of taking the heads and I'm lining them up. And then I'm laying them flat. And then I'm just rolling them, kind of like a little baby burrito. So just kind of rolled it. And then I take my knife and I just go down the middle of this roll. And then I just do small chops down the roll. And then that way they're going to be bite-sized pieces and easier for us to bite into and to ingest. All right, so because I do not want mushy cauliflower, let's let out this steam now. We want it just about fork tender for this recipe. So I'll turn the heat off. And this also is going to be a bit of a noise. So feel free to mute me if it comes out too loud for this part. Or even better, bonus points, feel free to dance with me. Here we go. I'm going to take it off the heat. And let's release the steam. Oh, yeah. I'm looking at the video right now. This is like some kind of special effect. Who knew I could look like a rock star? Feel like Beyonce with like the smoke screen coming. This is really fun. You just never know what you're signing up for with me, right? Hopefully you're being entertained and learning along the way. That is my goal. Oh, that's some good steam. Yes, and you are welcome, Deborah. Let's see. And Jerry says, gluten-free pasta is great. Nicely done. Glad you're on the gluten-free train. Woot, woot. Okay, so I'm going to hold on to a little bit of that steam because I'm going to put my kale right on top. And I know everybody's steamers are different. So if for some reason you're not able to put your kale on top of the cauli, maybe you pour your steamed cauliflower in a bowl, put the kale on top of that, and then maybe just cover the bowl with foil so that the steam stays in and steams both veggies at that point. And the whole reason we are steaming the kale is to make it easier to digest. And now that I've got these kind of little baby pieces, I'll put those in the middle while I'm going to roll my kale, the larger leaves that fit together. I'm going to make a slice down the middle. And then I'm just going to chop into bite-sized pieces. And now that we've got a little on the edge, I'm going to bunch them up just to make them a little smaller. And there we go. So, I'm going to use gloves, safety first. Let's take this hot lid off, and then I'm going to just put my kale inside. Oh my goodness, steamed cauli. My kiddos aren't home right now because I know they'd be like, ew, what's that smell? But for me, cauliflower happens to be my favorite vegetable, not only because it's delicious, but can anybody tell me in the comments the biggest vitamin that cauliflower contains? And this one might surprise you. At least I know when I went to school for nutrition, it surprised me when I found out the answer. But tell me what vitamin that cauliflower is chock full of. All right, and while I'm waiting for the time lapse, let's see if there were any other questions or comments. Some buffering happening with the video. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. I did plug directly into my Wi-Fi, so I'm doing the best on my side, so hopefully it'll work itself out. Let's see. Catherine says vitamin C. Yes, Catherine gets just hands. Yes, that's why it's another amazing vegetable to use when the seasons are changing. Maybe when you have the sniffles, or even if you have a full-on cold, just get that cauliflower in as much as possible. I think it's kind of obvious with the greens. Everybody, well, actually, I think I can make that assumption. I think most people know that green foods are good for you, but not everybody knows how amazing cauliflower is. So we're in luck. Tonight we're getting all of it in. So speaking of which, let's see what's next. So We chopped the half head of cauliflower, we steamed it, we chopped a bunch of kale, we steamed it or are steaming it. The next I said Roma tomatoes, just because I like that kind of bite-sized chunk, but please use your creativity, your imagination. If you don't love tomatoes, leave them out. But I say that because more goodness from the garden. We also grew these baby tomatoes or cherry tomatoes. And so for my recipe tonight, I'm just going to pop cherry tomatoes into the pasta. So while I chop these up, if you have your Roma tomato, or maybe you have a garden tomato, go ahead and chop it up into bite-sized pieces. And while we're doing that, if you have a zoodler, pull that out because we're gonna zoodle some zucchini momentarily. And absolutely no worries if you don't. I'll give you the second option, the plan B, to make sure everybody has what they need for a delicious, add creamy, a nutritious fettuccine Alfredo. I don't know if you can see right here. I've got these black olives just staring at me. When I was going down the road of saying, be curious, like I think even in the recipe, I said you can add at the end, if you want to add some meat protein. I think grilled chicken on top of this would be delicious. You could do ground turkey. I think that would be amazing. For my vegetarians, you can keep it vegetarian and maybe add some, sun-dried tomatoes would be delicious. I pulled out my pumpkin seeds. Let's see. Yep, those are behind me. I'll probably sprinkle mine with pumpkin seeds. But yeah, I just like to encourage people to get creative with their food because I think the more our hands are in it, the more we feel a part of it, then the better chance it is that we're going to get that nutrition in our bodies. So thank you all for coming along on this fun train with me. All right, I'm going to chop 3 more tomatoes and then we will head to the zucchini. And yes, I don't know what it is about zucchini and zoodles, but I can't help myself. I just want to sing. You try it yourself. Bonus points if you have other people in your house and they can listen to you zoodle. Or maybe they hear me and they're like, who is that crazy lady on your screen? All right, so now I'm just going to put my tomatoes to the side. I'm also going to switch places. I'm going to move my steaming cauliflower and steaming kale just to the side so we have enough space for the wok, because I'll give you a heads up, with our wok, we are going to just gently saute our zucchini. And then after that is when we will put all the pieces together. Are we ready? Can I get a yes, I'm ready? Or kale, yeah, I'm ready? Or let's go, Michelle. I'm willing to wait for it. And while we're waiting, I see there's some conversation about mushrooms. Yes, I love mushrooms too. Go for it! Yes, I'm ready! Okay, thank you. Just wanted to make sure you were still with me. Yes, 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 yes. All right, so next step, the zoodle. So just grab your zucchini. For my friends who do not have a zoodler, I will say, I'm sorry, because they're so darn fun. So maybe next time you might want to try. I think I got this one off of Amazon. Let's see what the brand. It says Paderno, Paderno. And I want to say it cost me like $18. And there's different grating pieces you can put into it, but it's just a fun way to eat zucchini. So I'm about to zoodle, but if you do not have a zoodler, then no problem at all. What you're going to do is just take your zucchini. We're going to cut off the edges. And actually, first, I just completely ignored my own chef rule, which is let's have a clean cutting board. Okay, much better, much better. And then, if you are not zoodling, I just want you to take your time. I'm going to rinse off the yummy kale and cauliflower off of my chef's knife. And I want you to take your time and just do gentle, long lines so that you're making essentially pasta. You're going to make your zucchini pasta. So there's no right or wrong way to do this. Again, we just want to get this nutrition in your body. So for my friends who do have a zoodler, and actually I've seen some handheld zoodlers as well. If you have one of those, of course, grab it, pull it out, and here we go. Let's zoodle it up. So I'm going to put it on the edge, and then we're going to crank it. We're going to crank it. Woo! Pretty zucchini. Hello. Let's see. Now you can see. Isn't that gorgeous? Hello, zucchini. And then the recipe, I believe I said 1 zucchini. Let's see. I did. But again, this is your recipe, your home. This does serve a party of 4. So the way the recipe is written, you're perfectly fine. But if you happen to be like me and love zucchini, of course, by all means, throw in a second zucchini and keep the pasta out. Or keep the pasta in and still add the extra zucchini. The more veggies, of course, the better. So let's keep going. Yay. And who is it? And Deborah has the large text again. Thank you so much, Deborah. That is a huge help. My tech support, who usually sets up my second screen, is out of town this evening. So I so appreciate you all's patience with me and the community love I'm receiving. So thank you all for being here. And thank you for cooking with me in the kitchen. Okay, so now I'm turning on the wok. Well, I'm turning on the stove for the wok because, as I mentioned, we're going to saute the zoodles. And this is also chef's preference, meaning if you want like a crunchier noodle, then only saute maybe 1 to 2 minutes. If you want more of like the typical pasta texture, then I would say saute for 3 to 4 minutes. And if you like mushy, I mean, who am I to judge? If mushy is your thing, then of course just cook it a little bit longer. But I find the longer you cook the zucchini, the kind of softer it gets, but also the water is pulled out of it, so it also becomes watery as well. So I say 3 to 5 minutes is the sweet spot. Okay. 1 more half, and then we will be 1 step closer to a dinner. All right, and before I start sauteing, do we have any questions at all? Let's see. Hello, Kristen from Charleston. So glad you're here, especially because I know it's getting a little late over there. So especially welcome. Thank you for showing up. Let's see. Glad you found the recipe. Awesome. So it looks like I may have missed some of the communication, but if anybody's still looking for the recipe, if you're on a laptop or a desktop, it's the middle circle with the image. It looks like there's stacks of paper. And then if you're on an iPad, it should be on the left of your screen. And same thing, the middle red circle with the stacks of paper. And then you should see your recipe there. Okay, so I am going to use avocado oil for my sauteing. You could use olive oil because it's sauteing, but I will warn you that olive oil does change chemical form at really high heats. And so I try to avoid cooking with the olive oil. Um, I love the avocado oil because it's also super brain supportive, but it doesn't have a lot of flavor to it. So you can kind of make it taste like the food that you're cooking, which is what we always want, right? I'm going to saute the zoodles. Going to get in there and just mix it around so that all sides of all my little spirals have this beautiful brain supportive olive oil, or excuse me, avocado oil. I will share with you that coconut oil is also very brain supportive, and that could be delicious to cook with. Full fat butter um, if you are not lactose intolerant. Full fat butter that's organic. Again, we don't want the chemicals in there, but that can also be brain supportive. And also ghee. That's another great oil to cook with. And that would be what we call a healthy fat. We want as many healthy fats in our diets as possible, especially for those of us who are over 40, because over 40, our hormones are changing again. So if you have had feelings, like what is wrong with me or why do I feel like a teenager, uh, you're not alone. A lot of us are going through those hormonal changes like we did as teenagers. And so what we can do to eliminate some of those issues like the hot flashes, the night sweats, the restless leg syndrome is to get as much healthy fat, protein, and fiber in our diets as possible. And so this meal is going to be excellent for that because zucchini is an amazing veggie that's chock full of fiber. I'm going to give that just one more moment. And you know what? Just for fun, I'm actually going to put my tomatoes in. If you want your tomatoes a little bit heated, go ahead and put yours in as well. If not, if you want it to stay kind of on the cooler side, that works as well. And then while these are sizzling, another gift from my garden, which I sincerely wish I could share with you through the screen, look at this gorgeous basil, is the basil. I've been like babying this basil all summer, so it feels like such a beautiful treat to be able to share it with you this evening. So as that's sauteing, I'm just going to peel off a few leaves, and it's going to be more of a topping. And if you don't have basil, parsley would be amazing. Mint would be delicious in this recipe. Really, any green herb we want to get into our diets as much as possible because they are nature's natural detoxifier. So we're talking kidney, we're talking liver, an amazing detoxifier. Okay, I'm going to turn the heat off of my zoodles and my tomatoes as I chop up the basil, and then we will mix all of this together and have some dinner. Thank you, because I am ready to eat and it is smelling so good. Oh my goodness. Does anybody else's kitchen have the aromas like floating around you? Let's see. So Rick is asking, what temp is the wok set to? Awesome question. I had mine on medium high, and because I just kind of did a flash saute of the zucchini, it could have been at high as well. So I hope I didn't catch that comment too late, and I hope your zoodles are sauteing at just the right temperature for your liking. And also, Rick, thank you for participating. I really appreciate you. Thank you. All right. Thoughts about collagen? Gail, yes. Thanks for asking. I have a lot of thoughts about collagen. Mostly positive thoughts. meaning collagen is amazing at skin tissue repair, also muscle repair. I do my best to put collagen in my smoothies every single morning. And I've been doing it so long, I can't tell you before and after. I just know I feel better knowing that I'm getting it in my body. So, yes, I'm a yes to collagen. Thank you for asking. So, with my basil leaves, I'm going to do very similar to how I did with my kale leaves. I'm just matching up the tippy tops. And then that just makes it a little bit easier to slice and dice our herbs. Awesome. Okay, and so now that I have kind of a stack of leaves, I'm going to lay it flat. And again, I'm going to make like a really tiny baby burrito. That's what I used to call my daughter. She's now 15, so it's been a while since I've been able to talk to her like that. But, you know, sometimes I get these flashbacks of the 3-year-old baby that I could wrap up and call her my little baby burrito in the bathtub. Those days are long gone. So now you all have me. You guys are my babies. This basil is my baby. And as you saw, I just did small chops after I did my baby burrito. And now, just in the interest of time, because it looks like we have about 8 more minutes together, and I want time to eat, and I also want to leave time if you have more questions. I am going to quickly stack these and quickly roll them. Again, cut one line through the middle, and then do very slim slices. This is going to be more of a topping on this pasta. Because with our herbs, we're going to get more nutrients if we can eat them as raw as possible. Cooking them, we'll still get beautiful nutrients, but you're going to get more live nutrients the more live your herbs are. Okay, let's put it all together. And again, if you don't have a wok, feel free to grab like a big mixing bowl where we can put everything together and mix it, mix it, mix it. So in the wok, we've got our zoodles. And now I'm going to add our kale and cauliflower. Oh, that is a lovely smell. Oh, look at all these veggies. Happy, happy veggies. And let me scoop some of these out because I do not want to waste any of this goodness. I want this goodness in my belly. Speaking of which, this dish makes excellent leftovers. So for my friends who might not have 4 servings worth of people in your home, awesome, because you are going to have a delicious leftovers for lunch tomorrow. All right. Veggies. Next we have, oh, you know what? Let's do a little bit of sauce in the middle because that just makes it a little bit easier to scoop. And then I'll put my pasta, my rice pasta on top. Oh, we're drizzling that. Smells so good. Now, the rice pasta that I boiled earlier, again, is a pad thai pasta. And you can see, well, I'll use my fingers for this one. But you can see it's a black rice that I chose. And I just find the texture being delicious. I don't know that it's necessarily any more mineral or vitamin rich, but I just like the texture of that brand. Again, that was called, the brand is Forbidden, and it's in this purple casing. I got this from Sprouts, actually, from my friends here in Colorado. I'm not sure if they're a national chain. And now I'm going to put the rest of this delicious creamy sauce on top. And if you are sharing this meal with another person, you might want to save a little of the sauce on the side, because I know some people like this extra creamy and some people just like a little creamy. But if you have a little on the side, then everybody can choose their own creaminess level. And now we're just going to mix. We're going to mix everything together so that it's easy to plate. And while I do that, so Rick's asking, does the gluten-free pasta have much fiber? Yes, awesome question. It's an amazing source of fiber, and it's lower in sugar than some of the more traditional pastas. So awesome question. And then Don is saying, are leftovers okay? All my peeps have gone to bed. I love it. Absolutely. It sounds like you probably typed that before I got to my little spiel about loving these leftovers. But yes, your peeps will have a lovely lunch tomorrow. If you choose to share, you might keep this to yourself. I don't know. But oh my goodness, let's see if you guys can see it from there. Let me see if I raise it a little bit higher. But you can see just how creamy delicious this is. Isn't that gorgeous? All right, so all of that is mixed in. And so let me grab my plate. And also, you know what? Normally I use the herbs atop at the end, but because we're here and to make sure I have these herbs in for my lunch tomorrow, I'm putting them on top now. So feel free to put your herbs in now, or you can put them in after you plate it. Chef's choice. Let me actually grab a plate so I can eat with you. Oh, just the sound alone is making my mouth salivate. Oh yeah, now this is gonna be, looks like a messy one. But we're friends now, so you're okay if I like end up wearing my food tonight, right? Let's see where we're, oh yeah, oh, that's a really long one. I love it. And you know what? Yes, we are friends, but this also kind of feels like a first date. So I'm going to grab a steak knife so that I can have like a decent bite to put in my mouth to taste this masterpiece. But by all means, you have fun in your own kitchen. I say the messier, it's usually going to be the tastier. Here we go. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. So creamy. So delicious. So packed with fiber and vitamin C and healthy fat. This is going to satiate our guts, which is going to support our brains, which is going to help us have more energy. So let me show you the plate, the dun dun dun, and then I'm going to get to eating. All right, are there any questions before I sign off? Let's see. So Deborah said, I really enjoyed the presentation. You have such a lively personality. Thanks so much. Oh, thank you so much. I truly appreciate you being here. This has been a really fun evening and a really delicious evening. So I hope you all have been either cooking with me, and if not, hopefully I've inspired you to try this recipe really, really soon. All right, thank you. Oh, you're welcome. You are welcome. Yes, well, thank you all. And again, I will be back December 1st, the first Thursday in December, and we will be making a plentiful spaghetti. This one, I will give you options for vegetarian, but I will be cooking up some meat for that one. So I hope you come back because it's always a lot of fun. All right. Have a wonderful evening.